High school football. America's most popular sport with over 1 million participants play under the Friday night lights during the fall. A time truly filled with joy, passion, and pride as families cheer on their loved ones on the gridiron. But what occurs when a particular high school puts athletes' lives at risk? A school that exploited and lied during their existence. Lies that would ultimately end up being broadcast on national television. And it wasn't even a real school. Welcome to Scandalous. In 2019, a prep school named Bishop Sycamore was founded in Columbus, Ohio. The purpose of this organization was an online charter school made for students who needed a second chance to gain an education. The school would partner with organizations like Youth Build Columbus and Graduation Alliance to give students an education through their online programs. And it will do so while fielding a football team that would be made up of players talented enough to go on to play college football at the Division I level. Bishop Sycamore's head coach Roy Johnson would use the recruiting tactic of promising athletes that attending Bishop Sycamore will get you into Division I college sports. The state of Ohio was already a recruiting pool for many major colleges within the Midwest, and for Bishop Sycamore to claim to be the next great sports academy in the state's capital, there was plenty of potential for it to work. Although being based in Ohio, the Centurions were not recognized by the Ohio High School Athletic Association as a high school team, but rather a club team, meaning Bishop Sycamore could not play in the Ohio High School state playoffs, and any Ohio high school that played a club team will not recognize the club team as an actual opponent in the playoff rankings, essentially meaning there is no reward for playing against Bishop Sycamore. With this in mind, no OHSAA affiliated Ohio teams would agree to schedule the Centurions in their first season. However, in 2019, Bishop Sycamore managed to put together their first 10-game schedule, all of which the Centurions will travel for away games. Eventually playing its first game of high school football against Indiana's Tri-State Kings Crusaders on August 24th, Bishop Sycamore would win with a score of 66-6. What was witnessed was the first win of a new program, a dominant one in fact. A moment that is special in any new program or franchise has completed the first step in their growth to regional and hopefully national prominence. However, the events after this game would only be the slow decline of the new program. In the ensuing month, Bishop Sycamore's status was experiencing some misfires in their first set of games. On August 27th, the Daytona Beach News Journal reported that Bishop Sycamore's matchup against Daytona Mainland from Florida would be canceled because the Centurions failed to provide rosters and did not book hotels. Same thing would occur days later. Hedgeville High School in West Virginia followed suit with canceling their game against Bishop Sycamore that was scheduled for October 4th. On September 1st, the Petty School from New Jersey also canceled their matchup set for September 7th. Then the next week, Landmark Christian, a fellow club team based in Ohio, would cancel their matchup as well. Though unknown to the public what the exact problem was, teams continued to cancel, and the skepticism and curiosity around the program began to grow on internet forums. During these times of cancellations, Bishop Sycamore managed to schedule a last-minute matchup against Connecticut's Suffield Academy for September 14th. 4 cancellations, and 3 weeks after their first game, Bishop Sycamore would lose 6-26 against Suffield, marking the first of many losses for the high school. Despite the prior controversy, Johnson Central from Kentucky kept their date with Bishop Sycamore on September 20th. Johnson Central would win handily 34-8, and now that the Centurions had 3 games under their belts, questions were still looming on why the high school struggled to provide rosters consistently.
September 23rd, 2019.
Just 4 days before Bishop Sycamore's next game, their opponent, Point Pleasant High School from West Virginia, announced they will also cancel Friday night's game against Bishop Sycamore over a breach of contract. This was one of the first stories to finally answer some questions. Here is Point Pleasant's former athletic director and current assistant principal, Kent Price.
It was to the point the week of, because I can remember it, he did not fax me a roster finally after multiple calls and emails and text finally, the Monday that we were scheduled to play them, he had sent me a roster. So I had give it to our coaches. Our coaches started doing some research, and we'd found 3 post-grad players on the roster. That's an automatic, non-qualifier for you. You can't play anybody that's got post-grad kids with anything like that. And just from a legal standpoint, insurance standpoint, and from an eligibility standpoint, from your school standpoint of you can't put your kids in jeopardy with risking anything along that line. So that was.
The discovery from Point Pleasant exposed the lie that was initially promised by Bishop Sycamore, stating that their players were 18 years old or younger. However, not only were some of the athletes 19, but they were in their 5th year of high school sports, which was another violation of the contract agreement between the schools. And with that, Point Pleasant became the 5th high school to cancel their matchup against Bishop Sycamore in only a month's span. The story continued to slowly grow on websites like Yappy Sports, Southeast Ohio Preps, and West Virginia Tailgate Central, where dozens of high school football followers were slowly discovering that this school isn't what it appears to be. Amid the speculations, Bishop Sycamore continued to fill in matchups throughout the season's schedule. In fact, from October 3rd to October 12th, Bishop Sycamore played 4 games in 4 different states, including back-to-back games where they played Ensworth High School from Tennessee on a Friday night and then played Don Community School from Cincinnati, Ohio on Saturday. Something that would simply never occur due to the lack of preparation for the team, along with administration restrictions and curiosities for players' health. Despite complaints and disbelief from people who were following the team online, the speculation would pipe down with the Centurions playing their final 3 scheduled opponents. The Centurions would end the year 4-6, with 7 games canceled and 7,500 miles traveled along the East Coast to play their 10-game schedule. One that was filled with controversy and conflict has now finally come to a close. Although many expected challenges for the first-year program to be a learning experience, the adjustments needed to be made during the off-season should be a step in the right direction for the program.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
In the meantime, we turn to the coronavirus in this country, and tonight cases rising in 31 states and Wisconsin. With a record number of hospitalizations now, President Trump with 2 rallies planned there in coming days.
Arrive off-season 2020, the COVID pandemic is in full effect. Spring sports were just canceled due to the global virus. New protocols are enforced by the CDC and high school administrators to ensure safety for the upcoming fall sports. Ohio schools now need to worry about travel restrictions, high schools can only manage 6 games before the state playoffs, and hundreds of Ohio high school athletic directors are now in a full panic to fill up a reasonable schedule. To combat the challenges, the OHSAA announced all teams will clinch a playoff spot in the state tournament due to COVID affecting the number of games each team can actually play, meaning teams would be more open to play against a club team since the penalty for not receiving computer points won't even matter much anyway outside of playoff seeding. A terrible time of worry, uncertainty, and fear is now a perfect opportunity for Bishop Sycamore to get their foot in the door. Next on Scandalous.
Governor Mike DeWine has asked the Ohio Department of Education to launch an investigation.
What we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight.
No, it looked like just some guys off the street.
I already am worried about it. I think it's this could potentially be dangerous.
This episode was written, narrated, and produced by Jake Collins. Music is by Daz Dillinger. Scandalous is an individual project that can be found on your favorite podcasting platform. Tune in next week. This is Scandalous.